Hello, hello. So this video is going to walk you through the basic standing sequence we'll be exploring and building upon in my live yoga classes this March. And you'll notice that there's a lot of dynamic movement, a lot of breath with movement as we're exploring the theme of finding flow and ease through action, through connecting breath with movement. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll start standing. And you'd like to take your feet about hip distance apart. And you're going to turn your right toes out a little bit. And we're going to step the right foot back about a leg's distance. So we're essentially coming into warrior one. Okay? So you'll want both of your hip points more or less facing forward. Your front knee more or less guiding over your second and third toe. And then really grounding that outer edge of your back foot here. So we're going to take a dynamic movement. We're going to take our hands together, raise them up and overhead, lunge into the front knee, and take a breath in as we look up. And then we're going to swing our arms behind us, start to straighten our front leg, and bow forward over the legs. And I'm kind of folding from the hip and allowing my spine to drape. Let me do that again. Breathing in as you come up. Breathing out as you straighten the front leg and fold. Let's do 3 more slow. So gliding that toe, reaching back through the back heel. And as I straighten, really dragging this front hip back and folding. I'm kind of aiming my forehead or the top of my head towards my knee. It'll be different for everyone. Let's do this one more time. Breathing in as we come in, warrior one, finding a little bit of a back bend here. And then exhale, fold. And then coming up, we're gonna lunge into the front leg and twist towards that leg. So I've got my left foot forward, so I'm gonna swing my right arm forward and twist. And then as I swing the opposite way, I'm straightening my knee and opening my pelvis. So bend the knee and twist, straighten the knee and open. And we'll do this a couple times. We might actually breathe in as we open. That might feel more natural. Breathe out as you twist. Inhale as you open. Exhale as you twist. Let's do 2 more. So I'm going to open up here, make my way into triangle pose. For triangle, I've got my hips in a nice angle here, not too open, not too closed, but I'm going to adjust my back foot, bring it a little bit more in line with my front foot. That's going to allow me to open my pelvis even more. Okay, if it felt good to have your foot exactly where it was, you keep it there. And so a measure of that is to look at our front knee and notice if it's very easily rolling in or bending because of the position of our pelvis. Okay, so we want to make sure that it's lengthened. The knee is sort of able to roll out to the first and second toes, and that we can actually tip in our hip. If we feel a lot of pressure or resistance here, we might want to turn our pelvis a little bit more forward. Okay, so we're going to explore triangle pose, Trikonasana. So sending the hip back, front hand moves towards thigh, knee, or shin, and notice I have length through my whole spine. And then I'm going to bend the front knee and come into reverse warrior. So reaching the front arm up. We're going to move between those 2 positions. So straightening Trikonasana, looking down towards my bottom hand. And then reverse warrior, looking up towards the top hand. We might breathe in here, exhale, Trikonasana. 4 more times. Really let the movement be led by the breath. Last one. Let me come up to wide-legged stance. So coming all the way up, toes facing forward, heels out. And so what we're going to do is take a halfway lowering down. So I'll show you from the side. So I'm sending my bum back, but I'm not trying to flare my sitting bones too much. I don't want to cause any distress in my low back or my hamstring attachment. So just sending the whole bum back, not worrying about flaring the sitting bones at all, really. And then standing on up and feeling that kind of firm down through the feet, pelvis comes a little bit forward. So inhaling as you go down, exhaling as you come up. Let's do 4 more. And the aim here is to keep a good amount of weight into the balls of our feet. So we're not overstretching those hamstrings. We can actually keep a little bit more contraction when the balls of our feet are rooted. The last 2. You could always do this, especially in live class, as you get stronger and stronger, reaching the arms forward and lifting up. Let's do 1 more like that. Okay, and then come all the way to the ground. Walk your hands to the front of your mat and step back downward facing dog. Take a moment to pedal out through the feet here. And then you'll walk your feet towards the top of your mat. Bend the knees, roll up to standing. And let's try the other side. So I'll show you from the opposite side of my mat. So feet as about hip distance apart. Turn your left toes out this time and step back towards warrior 1. Okay, so the length of that will be different for everyone, but you want to find a certain ease in lengthening your back leg and bringing your hip and your ribs around to the front. So we inhale as we look up, lunge. Exhale as we start to straighten the front leg and bow forward. Kind of moving the head towards the knee without force. Breathing in as you open up. Breathing out as you dive forward. 3 more nice and slow. Really let it be led by the pelvis. The pelvis has to move back. And the pelvis has to move forward. And that's what's going to keep your back feeling a little bit easier. So it's not just the ribs that are moving. It's really this pelvis. Okay, and then rising on up. Take your hands to your hips for a moment. And we'll do that swinging action. So if we lunge into this right foot here, we swing the left arm forward and we twist. Notice my back knee isn't collapsing. I'm still reaching out through it as I twist. And then we straighten and open up to the other side. Notice how my pelvis opens up. So we lunge and we twist, the pelvis closes. And then we open up, the pelvis turns open towards the corner of the mat. And we do that again. Exhaling, inhaling. Exhale, inhale. Last 2. Opening up. We're going to take triangle pose. So you might adjust this back foot. Okay, we want that inner thigh rolling open. We also want to make sure that we can actually shift our pelvis back. If we're too far open, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult and you might start to feel a little compression in the hip. So make sure that back hip rolling forward, a helpful amount. Okay. So start to come into your triangle pose, feet nice and rooted. You could even experiment with drawing the kneecaps up to activate the thighs, which will support the leg bones in the sockets. And then we'll take it into warrior 2 and sweep the arm up, so reverse warrior. So exhaling as you take triangle, you can look down towards your bottom hand. Inhale as you look up towards top hand. Exhaling. We might experiment with different angles, different drishtis or gazes where we're looking throughout the month. But for now, getting used to this orientation. Let's take 3 more. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, reverse warrior. And then come all the way up to standing. Turn your toes in. This time your heels out, and we'll take a goddess pose. And let's take a couple rounds where we inhale as we go down. Exhale as we stand up. I want to connect the finger pads at Anjali Mudra in the center of your chest here. So you connect to center. Inhale as you go down. Exhale as you draw in. We might experiment with arms in class. So you could widen, even out, kind of in this goalpost shape. And then exhale, bring it in. Inhale, widen. Exhale, bring it in. Let's do 2 more. And let's roll down to a forward fold. Walk your hands towards the front of your mat and sit back downward facing dog. Come back to this 4-part breath that we visited in the warm-up video. Feeling the fullness of your inhale, arriving at the top. Full and easy exhale, arriving at the bottom. And then as you exhale, you might take a child's pose or sit back towards your heels upright. Just take a moment here. Notice how the breath is. Okay, so that was a little taste of what the standing pose sequence is going to be like this month. We are going to add on to these postures. We're going to hold postures in different places. So the next step would be, instead of moving through, we would stay. We might deepen certain postures. So there'll be a lot to add on to that, but that's the basic structure that I hope you'll find helpful in preparing to come to a live class. If you have any questions, email me or leave a comment. And I look forward to seeing you in class and in the next video.